Nida, you started off as a freshman last fall. What did you imagine Zaytuna would be like before you came here, and has it lived up to your expectations?
So before coming to Zaytuna, obviously when I was applying, I watched the online videos, I talked to students, I read the online catalog, and I guess what I was expecting was, just gaining a lot of knowledge and studying these amazing subjects that are so valuable to our life, studying fiqh, studying usul, studying logic, studying rhetoric. And by all means, that's what I found. I found that I'm being so engrossed in these subjects, but I've also found that I found a lot more coming to Zaytuna. I found professors who are extremely dedicated in their students. I found other students who are not just seeking, self-advancement, but they're here trying to help their fellow students. I found myself at a school that has a bigger purpose, that has a purpose of first seeking the pleasure of our Creator, and second, just trying to make the world a better place.
If someone asked you what is unique about Zaytuna, what would you say to that?
I would say there are a million things that are unique about Zaytuna College, but if I had to pick one, it would be the cohort system that we have. And for anyone who's unfamiliar with the cohort system, what that entails is that all the classes I take in all 4 years will be with the same group of about 15 students. And it's hard to explain what that's like. It's really fostered this community where all the students are just trying to help each other. In my Arabic class, some students are struggling and some students are doing really well, but we still all came together and said, even if I have a million other things to do, we're gonna make sure that no one gets left behind. And at this college, I'm finding that the students are first trying to help other students. They're trying to help their school, and I am confident that every Zaytuna student will leave this college trying to seek to help the Muslim Ummah as a whole.
Saheb, being in the Bay Area, you were already familiar with Zaytuna College, and what made you pick Zaytuna over other schools to which you had applied?
I think the best way to answer this question is to share with all of you a recent conversation I had with a friend of mine who attends Harvard University, arguably one of the best colleges in the world. And one thing she said was that if you objectively survey all the different curriculums across the country, you'll notice that Zaytuna College is the only one that promises to transform its students into master logicians, master grammarians, and master rhetoricians. And that's what's ultimately brought me here. But she also said something quite remarkable. She said that Zaytuna's approach to education and the efficacy that comes from it is verified historically. If you look at all the great intellectuals of the past, whether from the West or from the East, all of them were proficient and well-grounded in the trivium, even the mathematicians and scientists. The trivium is about fortifying the mind, whereby the individual can tackle any question, and that is true freedom. But one thing she also said, and it made me realize that coming to Zaytuna was much more about learning how to think, speak, and write. She said that Zaytuna's approach to education is rooted in traditional principles, and there are very few places in the world that still adopt that approach. And so in the final analysis, she concluded that the benefits of Zaytuna College transcend just the Muslim community, because it's about the restoration of a type of knowledge that at one point in time was shared by all civilizations.
Have you given any thought about what you will do after graduating Zaytuna?
Yes, I do have plans. Inshallah, if Allah gives me the ability, I plan to go to medical school after I graduate. And that was my plan before coming to Zaytuna, but by all means, my time here has definitely given that a new perspective and a new depth. And I hope that I can enter the medical field and bring morality and integrity to the practice of medicine. I hope that I can be a person that my patients can confide in, and they find comfort and care and love, and I care for my patients on a physical, emotional, and spiritual level.
Saheb, you need to decide within the next year. So what are you considering?
Well, I think that the greatest questions that confront human beings, not just Muslims, are ultimately philosophical and metaphysical questions. And so in lieu of that, I plan on pursuing a PhD in Islamic studies and philosophy. But I also believe that this question, I should add a caveat, I think that the greatest contribution that myself or anybody can make is in excavating some of the great ideas of Islam's intellectual history and presenting those ideas not just to Muslims, but to the world. And in doing so, people will understand why Islam has been here for 1,400 years. And one thing I can tell you, and I'll end with this, is that if you ask anybody, ask all the students, not just myself, we all believe that the Islamic intellectual tradition has to, number one, be recovered and expanded upon. Because traditions ought not to remain static, they ought to be in motion. And I believe that's both a great responsibility, but an even greater opportunity, an opportunity that no one can take away from us. And with our distinguished faculty, with our dedicated students, your generous support, and the blessings of God, I know we can make that a reality.
Thank you. Can we please give our students a round of applause?